Why isn't a Saucy Santana just as famous as a Lil Nas X? Let's talk about it. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. Girl, what's going on? What's going on, y'all? I've been waiting to have this conversation for a minute. And I want you girls to put your thinking caps on because we're gonna have a conversation. Let's have a sit down. Let's have a conversation because there's been a lot of talk about Saucy Santana and how talented he is and all the things that Saucy Santana has done, especially with Material Girl. Like, that song eats. And people are trying to figure out, and even Saucy Santana was like, answering in an interview why he isn't as famous, and basically just was like, because, I'm gay, because I'm gay. And some people have said, well, Lil Nas X is gay and he's black, so if Lil Nas X can make it, then all of them can. And it's just like, no, Lil Nas X is honestly an anomaly, to be honest. Lil Nas X, as talented as he is, and his album, don't get me wrong, is amazing. It's one of the best albums I've listened to in a long time. You can tell that he was very, very dedicated to his project. The album is amazing, point blank, period. I listen to it every day. It sounds like a diary, to be honest, of his thoughts, and like with good beats, good energy, good all of those things. And people just say, okay, well, if Lil Nas X, kind of had to fight his way to the top, why isn't, Saucy Santana making it? And the reason why I wanted to speak on this because it's the same, almost the same thing that dark-skinned female rappers experience in the industry. Like, there's no way, sorry, and I'm not pitting the girls against each other, but there's no way somebody like a Flo Milli is not as famous as a Saweetie and getting deals and stuff like a Saweetie is. Every time I turn around looking at a video of Saweetie with a poor performance, poor bars, poor everything, it's just like, I've never seen a mediocre dark-skinned female rapper that is mainstream as a Saweetie is. So when we take that analysis and we see how colorism plays a role in anti-blackness, because all of this stuff is related to how, someone like Saweetie is at the top, but someone like Flo Milli and other dark-skinned female rappers, are working and putting out better music and all that, but not being seen. What does that say in the case where Lil Nas X is dark-skinned, and Saucy Santana is like dark-skinned? So what's going on? Now, let me say this, because I love both of them. I think Saucy Santana is definitely talented. I think he's worthy of praise and all stuff. Like, I do have my criticisms of him, especially doing the Roland Ray drama and some of the things he's been caught up on saying on Twitter about like trans folks and stuff. I think Saucy Santana is a good person. I think he's extremely dedicated to his craft and everything. I think Lil Nas X is as well. But we have to talk about a real thing and some stuff that's going on and preventing, certain artists from getting to certain spots. When we look at these two individuals, Saucy Santana is fat and femme, along with being dark-skinned. Saucy Santana has been dragged on social media since he has get a little bit famous from being cool with the city girls. When he was out wearing skirts and carrying purses and stuff a couple years ago, folks were eating him up and saying, "Oh, girl, I like my guys femme." The gays were eating him up and saying, "Oh, I like a femme, but not like this." Some people were saying, "Oh, Saucy Santana has a beard and he wears makeup. Why is he doing it? It's confusing. It's too much." And I'm just like, I know that it's an issue because even when I just did 1 or 2 videos with makeup and stuff, the girls was eating me up. Like, the girls was like, "Oh, you got to shave that beard off, you should do all these things." It's just like, it's just makeup, girl. Why is it so serious? So people didn't like the fact they already assigned masculinity to Saucy Santana because he is dark-skinned and he is fat. So it's confusing to others, society, because you dark-skinned, fat, why are you not hyper-masculine? Like, people are subscribing to like, "Oh, girl, you're supposed to be hyper-masculine." It's just like, he's not. Saucy Santana is his own self. He's his own identity. He's his own thing, and I love that. honestly, I think that Saucy Santana is making, I don't want to say smaller waves, but the impact that Saucy Santana is making years from now will be a completely bigger wave. Like folks were like, oh my gosh, why were we not standing for him as much? And I don't like the comparison, but I think the comparison between Lil Nas X and Saucy Santana definitely needs to be talked about, because it needs to be studied to understand why don't we support like people who look like Saucy Santana. So I'll give you an example. When Nicki Minaj did an Instagram live with Saucy Santana, she talked about, I like you because you don't, you know, put your sexuality, all of your music, you don't do all of that. You're just you. You're just you. Like, and I think that it's because people look at Saucy Santana like he's a caricature. Like, people do not realize that Saucy Santana is a person. It's already hard for celebrity to be their own person already. So when you have someone who, like Saucy Santana, who is completely different from the norm that we think we're used to seeing. You have this dark-skinned, fat person wearing, you know, women's clothes, girls' clothes, whatever you want to call it, clothing. It's just like, girl, what is going on? It's like, we don't want to see him as human. We want to see him as someone who makes us laugh, makes us feel good about ourselves, and just entertain us. But we don't want to. We want you to entertain us, but when we want to be entertained. It's not like people are not taking Saucy Santana serious because of that. I think that Saucy Santana's Material Girl, if that was a song by Sweetie or any of the other girls, that song would be #1, girl. That song would be folks' ringtones, period. Like, girl, it would be caller tunes. Like, if that was done by any of these other female rappers, I'm telling you, it would have been performed. It would have been to equivalent to Icy, how Sweetie had Icy. It would have been that. Like, the song gives. The song gives, and y'all know I'm not a music girl. But every just once so often, I be in the house just, Material Girl, like out of nowhere. And let me tell y'all something, I'm not the biggest Saucy Santana fan, but I love him as a person and I respect him. But, you know, girl, it's anywhere. Just, if you could get me just out of nowhere, Material Girl, like, you got me. You got me. So, Saucy Santana is fighting an uphill battle. He's already dealing with, you know, anti-blackness, homophobia, and all the other stuff. He's also dealing with anti-fatness. He's also dealing with that. And a lot of people don't understand anti-fatness as of now. They don't, which is why books like this are very much important. Because anti-fatness is anti-blackness. And Saucy Santana is fighting this uphill battle that Lil Nas X is not fighting. Lil Nas X is not being fought as much with people calling him ugly and all the other stuff. People did call him ugly. People say, oh, well, he's average looking, he ain't that cute, da 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 da. I mean, even Lil Nas X said, you know, in his song Dead Right Now, he said his mother even said that he wasn't all that pretty, he wasn't all that talented. But there's a hell of a lot of people who think that Lil Nas X is beautiful. Like, they think Lil Nas X gives. Lil Nas X has posted several pictures like being sexy and doing all this other stuff, like being half nude and all that other stuff, and draws, and it gets shared, gets reposted, versus someone like Saucy Santana just walking in just some tight clothes, just like, girl, what's going on, like, da da da, like, Lil Nas X is not dealing with that same stuff. Like, he's dealing with colorism as well, but it's not as strong because Lil Nas X is still in a desirable body. He's still very much in this thin body. Like, he has abs and all this other stuff. So some people can look past that and be like, oh girl, even though she's dark skinned, she got that. But you cannot have both, child. You can't have a lot of, oh girl. And we know that. We know what enters, I hope folks know what intersectionality is. I hope folks understand that. Like Saucy Santana shares a lot of identities. He's femme, he's dark skinned, and he's fat. And he's a different type of femme than what like Lil Nas X is. People will call him, Lil Nas X, like a butch queen a little bit. They will call it, and I think sometimes butch queen sometimes can be anti-fat, to be honest, now that I think about it, because I see how people put like feminine thin boys, like they're calling butch queens versus someone who is fat. They all know it's not a butch queen, that's a queen. Like it's kind of like butch queen is not as bad, but queen is definitely like bad. Oh, this queen, tired queen, messy. You know, the ugly trope of, oh girl, since you look like that, you have to have a mean spirit, you have to be ugly. Child, that's just what it is. Like we see that. And so Saucy Santana has, like, I'm gonna be honest, I've seen Saucy Santana perform. Saucy Santana eats in performance. Like, him in the club going off, like hyping the club, it is very hard to do that, girl. Hyping the crowd. There was one when I saw him in a video, he was at, I don't know, it's like a stadium or something, it's like a high school stadium or something. They had a little thing and he was out there, he was just talking and he was moving with the crowd. Lil Nas X hasn't gotten to that point yet. Lil Nas X hasn't, it doesn't mean that Lil Nas X is bad, doesn't mean that Lil Nas X is not talented, but Lil Nas X is giving that grace that a Saucy Santana is not giving. Like, we've seen some of Lil Nas X performances, and we can tell, like, hey, he got to find his footing a little bit. You know, he's not the best dancer, all the other stuff, and not the best performer, but we like him, we like his spirit. And sometimes I would say that I've noticed that, like, we like his spirit, we like his energy and all that. It's like grace is given. But once again, I want you to, the same way I ask folks, name a dark-skinned female rapper who is mediocre with the same disability as a Sweetie. I want you to name a fat, dark-skinned gay rapper that has the same, that is mediocre with the same presence as Lil Nas X. We can't do that because it's already not that many. We can't do that because there are not even that many openly gay black artists. Like, Lil Nas X is probably, like, you know, the first among many. Like, you got other folks like Case the Killer, you got Duran Bernard, you got, you know, all these folks who are just as talented, but it's like, as talented as they are, they've not been able to push through that. They've not been able to do those things. So they have to fight just like the gay, like being queer and being openly queer and all that. But when you have somebody like, there is not that, I can't name, when you look at all the black gay rappers who be trying to rap like Nicki, like, I don't get that from Saucy Santana. I don't get that Saucy Santana comes out, because y'all know what I'm talking about. The girls who know, y'all know. You know the gang rappers who come out and it's just like, it's giving itty bitty piggy, it's giving that you have basically copied the whole persona of Nicki Minaj from her early days. Saucy Santana is not that. I don't really know if I was to say, I want to honestly talk to Saucy Santana and figure out who was a person who, like, who was he listening to, what rappers and stuff he listened to, because I guarantee you, he had been listening to some girls. I guarantee you it's probably Lil' Kim. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Lil' Kim, Queen Latifah. I wouldn't be surprised. But Saucy Santana is not that. And I feel like there are a lot of, like, you know, unfortunately a lot of black gay rappers pull on the Nicki Minaj persona because it does work for a lot of them. Like, it is giving that. But Saucy Santana is not giving all of that. But what he gives is just as good. And Saucy Santana doesn't have the backing, doesn't have the label behind him and the push like a Lil Nas X. And he's out here getting it done. And there's no reason why he's not up there. Like, it's no reason other than, you know, him being fat and femme. That's what it is at the end of the day. That's what it is at the end of the day. Like, I had a conversation with some friends the other night, and I tweeted about it, I was trying to explain anti-fatness to them, and it just didn't give. All they were thinking about was the fact that, oh, well, I'm thin, people have picked on me for being thin. It's just like, yeah, girl, people have. But when I don't say people, I say the world. the world has picked on me, systematically oppressed me for being fat. So it's not a situation where a couple of people, I can leave this and go to the next person and see. It's the world. And people haven't gotten there yet, so which means since they can't get there, they can't understand why someone like a Saucy Santana is not doing the numbers and stuff that a Lil Nas X is doing. Now, with that out the way, that conversation, I want to move towards what can Saucy Santana be doing differently? I think Saucy Santana, I'm gonna be honest, I love Saucy Santana and I hope he sees this. And I was having a conversation with a very close friend last night about this, and he was just saying that Saucy Santana is a hustler. Like, he talked about selling dope and selling weed or whatever, and he just always been a go-getter. Like, he always been, I had to push myself, I had to work harder than these other girls like I have to do these things to make it. But Saucy Santana, girl, we gotta talk about polishing up your brand, polishing up your image. And when I say that, I'm not talking about losing weight, I'm not talking about toning down your femininity, because I love all of that. And that's you. So I don't think you need to change any of that. When I say image, like, your social media presence needs to be cleaned up. I think sometimes when people see you, they put you in a box, as relatable as you are, because that helped you, like you being relatable, it's kind of like giving you, like, you can't expand past that. Like, you have to do something to make the girls like, oh my God, is that Saucy Santana? Like, damn, like, he doing that? And girl, I'm gonna say one of the things that's, to me, hurting you is these random ass club appearances, girl. These random club appearances, like, we love the Woodward. Shout out to Detroit, we love the Woodward, girl. But Saucy Santana is cute, it's all the things. Some of the stuff, some of the the things that you do, sometimes it's just to tell them, hey girl, like, I'm good. Like, you're doing so many things, and I understand you're a survivor and you're trying to like get there, but also know you be spending a hell of money, girl. We Chanel down boots. I mean, girl, because you know the truth. Like, ain't in Sri Lanka, but I'm in Sri Lanka. But girl, sometimes you need to tell some of these girls no. Sometimes. Saucy Santana, you done got to the point now. You don't need to be performing at nobody's high school jamboree. I'm not saying that you are, but when you start taking these certain gigs, people start keeping you in that box. I'm like, oh, okay. I was glad to see you performing at the basketball game. I love that. I can tell you was a little bit nervous, girl, but you was still like, I'm gonna do this shit. And it took a lot to get in front of them girls and do this stuff, and like tone down a little bit, because it's like, this is for a family and all that stuff. But you still did it. I'm happy. I want to see more of that, because when people saw that, they was like, oh, Saucy Santana. People want to root for you doing stuff. They want to see you take it to the next level while still being relatable. And I don't think that relatability is ever going to leave you, because you seem to be a genuine person. And I just want you to polish up some stuff. I think that we need to get some names together on Instagram. Like, we need to have, it needs to be clean cut. Like, the name on Instagram needs to be the same as the one on Twitter, all the other stuff. Some stuff don't need to be posted. And like, it's so much, but girl, I ain't gonna give you all my secrets on things you need to do, because girl, if that's the case, you need to be, look at me, girl, we need to be sitting down having a conversation and stuff, and let me offer you some of my thoughts. But I think you have a brilliant like team. I think that you're like, the people you're working with as far as like the beats and stuff, I can't think of his name. I think his name is Trey Traps or something, Trap Trey or something. Oh girl, I don't know, I can't, child, don't drag me. But he be getting, and you can tell that you have people who care about you, because he was getting ate up for, working with you. I can believe that some male rappers just like, hey girl, like, you out here doing music with him, I can't be associated with that. Which is why Saucy Santana has to work just like, remember when Homegirl said I have to work twice as hard, girl? When you're queer, you have to work 3 times as hard. Okay? When you're queer and like disabled, you have to work 4 times as hard. Like, it goes on. Like, it's so much. It's like, okay, girl, you got it. Like, Homegirl is dealing with it. Even if you think you got to do it, You and your able body, what do you think about this person? So it's so many things that we have to consider when we talk about a conversation like this, because I think that it doesn't say that Saucy Santana isn't talented. I think if anything, it says something about the industry and it says something about us. Because the industry is like, as much as these labels, Saucy Santana should have a deal at this point, to be honest. I don't know what the girls waiting on. I don't know what the girls are waiting on. I don't know if they just like, girl, we gonna spend no money. But Saucy Santana definitely should have a deal. Like, he should have a deal. He's got the sauce. I'm not understanding. I think if we was to put some serious coin behind Saucy Santana and have him doing some real stuff, like some real things, like, I think people will start taking him even more serious. I think right now they see him as a caricature. I think the thing that he did with JT and to see the girls, you know, not Carisha, but Young Miami, those videos and stuff, they were hilarious. Saucy Santana has to be careful of being put in that box of being the entertainer and being the person who is making folks laugh and stuff, because sometimes people put that on fat folks. Sometimes, unfortunately, that gets put on fat folks. The same thing we see with Kelly's character on Insecure. It's just like, we expect fat folks to make us to be the nurturer and the giver, to be able to protect and love us, and it's just like, that's all. But Saucy Santana shouldn't be doing that. Like, he's having fun on Instagram and stuff, but people put him in a caricature. The same thing that Nicki did when she was on live with him, and she didn't see him sexually. She didn't see that the music he does, he talks about sleeping with men and all that other stuff, but Nicki doesn't see that because she doesn't see him as a human being. And I'm not saying that to drag Nicki, because a lot of folks do that, but it's just how we see folks who are not desirable when it comes to that situation. Like, you don't see, like, you're not going, oh girl, it's giving caricature, like, oh girl, even though she talk about it, it's just like, I don't take it serious. Versus someone like Lil Nas X can say it, and it's just like, ooh, girl, yes, like, we can see that. Because y'all take away, you know, y'all take away sexuality from them while also doing other things to them. So this is a whole conversation. I really enjoyed this. Saucy Santana, girl, I hope you've seen this video. I hope you know that you love it. We care about you. We like your music, girl, and it's always material, girl. But girl, if you DM me and say anything, we have a conversation, girl, I wouldn't tell a soul without your permission. But I definitely would love to talk to you and see what's going on, because I want to see homegirl do it. I would love to see her like take it to the next level, but I know the heel that he's fighting. So love that for him. Check out the video, watch it, let me know what y'all think about my commentary on it, let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all later on tonight. Bye.